back to Unladylike Opinions. This review is The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Season 2, Episode 4, Friendship Roulette. So the episode starts off with the continuation of Meredith being sick of Jen lying. Lisa still campaigning for Meredith to hear Jen out. Then Whitney is trying to tell Jen to own up to it because no matter if she's running the Twitter account or not, you know, her face is still the one on the Twitter. And she was like, you need to handle that instead of, you know, running away. And then Lisa telling Meredith she understands why she's upset because someone in a convenience store said her son had a big head and she was upset. Girl, how does that compare to anything? How does that, somebody call you say your son got a big head compared to somebody on Twitter liking stuff saying that your son gay and he need to be punched in the face? Girl, Whitney and Heather over there trying to tell Jen no matter if it's a like, it's still hurtful tweets that you are liking against everybody, and it looks bad on you. And my thing is, if you say you're not the one doing it, why you keep having to clarify that it wasn't a tweet, it was just someone liking things? Like, if you didn't have anything to do with it, why you have to make sure you say that? And I'm like, so Jen said y'all are always on her side, and I have sons too, and I'm tired of getting the blame of stuff I didn't do. And this is so high school. Not high school, even middle school. So Jen said Meredith has allowed Brooks to say hurtful things about her, and she needs to own up to her stuff like I own up to mine. Like, girl, Lisa walking over to Jen, and Jen is telling her to shut the F up and have fun with her friend that is not her friend. And I'm like, man, which one is it? Is she her friend or she not a friend? And Heather is me on the sideline. Heather over there spectating everything, putting her little 2 cents in from afar. And Heather said, I can't go on that side of the ice because I lied about my weight. When I tell you I was in here hollering. So Lisa's trying to get Jen to listen to her explain Meredith's hurt yet again. And Jen is just screaming and not listening. And Jen tells Lisa she want me to apologize and I didn't do anything. So why don't you apologize to Heather and Whitney, since you didn't do anything, right? And Whitney and Heather was over there like, yes, amen, Jen Shaw. Then Jen throws her diamond bracelet, just throws it in the snow. And Lisa over there digging in the snow for the bracelet. Talking about something. It's at least worth 70 grand and you just throwing a bracelet. It's easy for you to throw a 70 grand bracelet away when you ain't the one paid for it, when you got it from them old people you was stealing from. But I'm gonna let that go. But I ain't gonna never let that go. So Heather walks over and she tells, you know, hugs Meredith and tells her she has to go because, you know, her daughter's senior thing is tonight. And she was saying in her confessional that she hated she had to go because she wanted to see all the action. And Whitney asked Lisa, why does she always want to help Jen? What is the protection that she has for Jen? And so Jen and her accomplice are over there talking, and he tries to convince her to make peace with everything. And he not saying say sorry, but she just pushing him away, and she said, you know, I got it. She keep pushing him and tell him he got it. He started grabbing her. And so Jen finally walks over, and she apologizes and cries, and Meredith says she believe it and accepts it. But in her confessional, she talking about Jen has always apologized before, and she didn't mean it. And I'm like, so why you ain't call her out on that? Like, why would you say in your confessional? Y'all so fake. So Jen says she wants to talk to Brooks and sit down with him and tell him that she's sorry face to face. So Lisa goes over to Sarah Jane's house, and she's talking with her and Angie. And they're having this boring conversation that I didn't care anything about. I don't even remember what it was, about how they met or whatever. And Angie tells them about a charity that her friend runs. It's a safe house for LGBTQ plus community, and it counsels families and children. And, you know, Angie says she has a transgender child, and they were going to gamble for charity, and she wants everyone to dress up. she tells Lisa that Whitney will be there also, and she knows that Whitney and Lisa has issues, and Lisa says they don't have one. Whitney thinks that she's putting her down, which she does. But Angie tells Lisa that she found out that they were related, and Lisa says in her confessional that she doesn't buy that because they are like inbreed polygamy cousins. And I was like, woo, child. So Angie tells Lisa, well, Lisa was like, you know, she would never control who people are friends with, line. And so Mary is in her kitchen cleaning up with her son walks in, and he acting all weird. Like, Mary's son is just as weird as she is. And she tries to have a conversation with him, but the doorbell rings, and, you know, it's Meredith. And she tells Mary, you know, she got a vampire facial, which is like them taking your own blood out and then spinning it and then using micro needles to apply it on your face. Mary said, oh, so basically you just rubbing your DNA all over your face. So she asked Mary if she's going to the casino night, and she said, yes, I am. And she said, the first time you would see Jen. And Mary says, yeah, Jen likes to apologize, but then turn around and do the same thing. So she doesn't trust unpredictable people. So Jen posted a picture of a grandfather and a granddaughter then versus now, with Mary and her step grandfather married. And it ain't funny, but it's true. Whatever. So Meredith tells her that Jen took partial accountability, but she did apologize, and she wants to apologize to Brooke. And she swear if this happens again, you know, she's out. And so we over at Whitney, and Whitney goes to meet Angie at a restaurant, and they tell how they were related because they had the same great grandfather. Let me make sure I say that right. Great grandfather from the Mormon community. And she, you know, met Angie through Lisa. That's how, you know, because Lisa walked up to her, Angie walked up to her and said, you know, I heard your grandfather was Shamrock, something, I don't know. And that's when, you know, you hear, what the girl name is, Whitney say, when you're dating in Utah, it's important to do a genealogy test because you may be dating your second cousin. Well, yeah, polygamy is decriminalized in Utah, so they don't care. They marry uncle's cousin. I mean, they be forced to, but let me stop. Don't ask me how I know about all this. I mean, I don't know because I want to be about it, and like it just was a show that I saw on TV. So Angie disclaimer. So Angie said that it's hard for her because she does have loyalty to Lisa, and she knows that Whitney and Lisa, you know, have some tension. And she tells Whitney, you know, that Lisa told her to not acknowledge that Whitney was her cousin. Angie said Lisa has a lot of opinions about people, and if she wasn't friends with everyone she didn't like, she wouldn't have any friends. And Angie tells her about the message she got from the caterer. The caterer counseled on her because they were asked to host another party, and it was Lisa's assistant that, you know, sent the message. And Whitney thinks that Lisa is trying to sabotage Angie because she is cool with Whitney. Angie says she would be devastated if that is true. So, you know, everybody is arriving over to Angie's house for the casino night. And the decorations and the signs that was outside, you know, I loved it. Everything was real, planned out real good. So Angie's showing Whitney around. And they get to this table where they got diamond jewelry you can pick out to wear. Like real jewelry. You can pick out to wear for the night. You rich people things. So they give Mary some jewelry. And Mary just over there just dancing like she in a music video. And I'm like, okay, Pastor Mary. And so Jeannie, to me, Jeannie was the best dressed. Her outfit went perfectly with the theme of, you know, the casino night or whatever. And Angie and her husband introducing themselves to Jen and Coach Shaw. And you see Mary and Whitney looking over there. And Mary said she would take energy to jump over the banister than the energy it takes to pass by Jen. So Jen, she said Jen is too much, and she actually tries to jump across the banister but gets stuck. Then Whitney was like, okay, let me do it. And Whitney goes over, and then they realize it's a door right there. Lord. So Sharif is over there having the time of his life, you know, shooting dice. And this is the only thing that I know how to do is shoot dice. I don't know how to, like, I don't know how to play spades. I don't know how to play all these other card games. I don't know how to gamble at the casino. But I do know how to shoot dice. My brother taught me how to shoot dice with Halloween candy. Don't judge me, judge me. So Lisa walks in and she greets Jeannie and ignores Whitney. And Whitney speaks to Lisa's husband. You know, she was like, you know, she was telling him that her husband over there, he was like, oh yeah, I'm be happy to see him or whatever. And so she tries to like say something to Lisa, like, well, I was asking John, and Lisa turned her back and ignores the living hell out of Whitney. And Seth tells Heather that her personality is so distracting, he never noticed her breasts. Right in front of him, like Meredith's right there. And I'm sitting here like, I would have been like, hey, let me holler at you real quick, homeboy. Man, ain't no way. Meredith is over there with the same energy and was like, yeah, you're right. And I'm saying, like, she basically over there co-signing what he said. And I'm like, have the same energy you had for Jen for your husband. Like, y'all weird. And so Chris gets, you know, Chris, which is Angie's husband, gets everybody's attention. And, you know, he gets emotional when he explains the importance of the charity because of him having a transgender son and all the things he shared with him, and how having this place helps people that don't really understand the transgender or gay community, people that help them understand, you know, what they're going through or whatever. And so Angie's in her interview, her confessional, saying that the Mormon community doesn't support being gay. Being gay is frowned upon, so they are no longer Mormon. So until they have the rights like the rest of them have, then Mormon is just not the thing for them. So they start taking the donations, and Angie's friend, one of them, he's a CEO of a tech company, I think. He donates $1 million because he said he believed in the organization. And I'm like, don't let Jen hear you say that. And Mary's sitting over there in this horrible wig. And Jen walks over and sit beside her like they just the best of friends. And she tell Mary she looks cute in her money green. And I'm like, that's like sage. Not even sage. It's kind of lighter than sage. I don't know what color it is, but it ain't money green. I don't know what. Jen, you just see money all the time, especially money that ain't yours. So Mary looked at Jen in person, was like, oh, this is Alexander McQueen. And, you know, because Mary's a labor whore. And so she took Jen in person. They laughed. And so Jen said that they need to get the family together and have a grill off. And Mary gets straight to the point and said, we made up at the reunion, and then a week later, you bashed me. And I just don't think you care for me. And Jen was like, everything is fine. And if it's not, you have to tell me because I don't know. And Mary said she want her to stay steady and straightforward. And you can't do something mean to me next week. if we, you know, we cool, don't go next week and be doing something on Twitter like you always do. And then they do this little childish pinky promise, and Jen said, have faith, and that they are moving on. And Mary said in her confessional that she has opened the door to Jen, but the screen door is there and it has electric voltage on it. Mary is a psychopath. And she says the trust has already been burned, but you know they buried the hatchet. And I'm like, you said you talked about everybody else and you basically do the same thing. Everybody forgives Jen. I mean, not saying you got to hold a grudge, but know how to, okay, I understand, and move on and not deal with that person like that. But this is a reality show. So, Angie comes out of her supposed to be $1 million donation dress, and I'm like, it ain't nothing but some feathers, like the other dress would have worked just fine. And she asks Lisa if they can go talk. And, you know, meanwhile, the men over there just having the time of their life. And I'm sitting here like, see, that's why I bond better with men, and I have more male friends than female friends, because I just can't, So Angie tells Lisa about the call she got about the catering company pulling out, and that Lisa's assistant is the one who called. And so Lisa, you know, said, wait, but what does this have to do with me? This has nothing to do with me. And she said she been friends with them forever, talking about the catering company, and they can do whatever they want. And she was like, now I feel weird because you lying. And Angie says the day before she met with Lisa, the caterers was so happy and just ready to get to the job, but someone called them and said shut it down. And Lisa said, I still don't know how this has anything to do with me. And Angie said, your name was on the text, and everyone around me thinks that you're involved. So Lisa basically gave herself away when she tells Angie, we were like sisters, and now that you are cousins with Whitney. And Angie said, there is an issue with me being best friend with Whitney. That's what Angie was like, there's an issue with me being best friends with Whitney. I mean, not being best friend, but being friends with Whitney. And Lisa said, you know, she has an issue with me. You seeking out a friendship with her hurts me. So Angie says, you can be friends with Jen and Meredith. Lisa was like, Meredith and I are 100% great. And Angie was like, you sure? And then she go get Lisa. Lisa go get Meredith. And I'm like, for why? And she tells Meredith that she go gets Meredith and Jen. And she tells Meredith and Jen she need them because their friendship is in question. And she's getting accused of plotting to take down this event. So Lisa comes back with Meredith, and she's all over the place, and she says, me and Meredith are fine. We're fine. And Angie asks Meredith if she feels like Jen gets in the way of their friendship. And Lisa was like, mind your business. But Meredith says that she don't think Jen got in the way of the friendship, but she was hurt by it, but they talked about it and they are good. And Lisa said, Angie's caterers counsel, and she says it's all my fault. And Angie asked Meredith to sit down so she can tell her about it. But Lisa won't let her get a word out, and she starts bawling, crying, saying, I'm so upset by this. And Angie says, I'm not accusing you of anything. I'm telling you what happened from my side. And so Angie just name drops Whitney and say, well, Whitney said that this seems, I asked Whitney to read the text, and Whitney said that she's trying to sabotage you. And so Whitney comes in and sits down, and Lisa like, Whitney, why are you here? And she was like, do you want me to leave? Yes, you need to go. And so she was like, you are not a part of this friendship. So they go back and forth, and Whitney say, you are the one with the problem because you told Angie to not acknowledge that we are related, to not follow me on social media, and just disown knowing me. And Lisa looks at Angie and said, thanks for telling her what I told you. I thought we were friends. Don't we keep confidence? Well, in the words of Ronald Isley, busted. Lisa is basically busted. You did it. You did it. That's why you storming out acting crazy. And Lisa tries to get up and go. They make her sit down, but she crying. I just want John. I just want John. And I'm like, this explains it all. This is why her and Jen are so close. They are one of the same. I'm like, what was all this for if you didn't do anything? And so that when Lisa finds her husband and they leave the building. And that was basically the end of the episode. So like, share, comment, subscribe. And I will talk to you guys later. Goodbye.